Hey, what's up? Doug Cunnington here from Niche Site Project. I talk about internet marketing, little Amazon affiliate stuff, location independent ideas, and digital marketing. And in this video, I'm going to talk about attending my first conference. My first conference was the Converted conference put on by Leadpages and Drip. When I went to the conference, I didn't use either of the products. So a couple reasons I chose the Converted conference over all the other ones that are out there. By the way, there's like tons of conferences going on all the time. When I, met up with a couple people there, they were telling me they went to a conference a couple weeks ago, and there's all sorts of just different niche conferences going on like all the time, especially in like bigger cities. So this particular conference was over in Minneapolis. And for me, that was actually one of the selling points. So I'm in Bozeman, Montana, and we have a small airport here. It's a small city, like 45,000. So, by the way, I prefer it that way. There's not as much traffic, but we can't fly directly to as many cities. So you could fly a lot of places direct from Atlanta. But here in Bozeman, you have to make connections a lot of times. And with my schedule, I have a lot of freedom, but at the same time, I don't necessarily, at this point in my business, want to spend too many days traveling and that sort of thing. I could fly direct to Minneapolis, so that was very cool. Additionally, it happens to be a conference where I knew several of the speakers that were going to be speaking in 2017, and then I knew people in 2016 also. So I was like, this should be the right set of people. It should be the right level of like a entrepreneur. Now, the Converted conference is mainly around conversions across the board. So it starts generally from like an email list or someone converting on your website or Facebook page or whatever, and then eventually becoming a customer. There's conversion points along the way and a lot of different ideas there. So one other interesting thing with this conference is there's no breakout sessions. There's no multiple tracks. There's just one set of presenters, and that's it, which is cool because I've been to a beer conference, a homebrewing conference, ironically also in Minneapolis about 5 years ago, and there were multiple tracks, so you kind of had to pick what you wanted to go to, which isn't terrible. It's good to have options, but then you're like, well, I want to go to this one and I want to go to this one. What do I do? So in this case, Converted just has one track, and it was great because you didn't feel like you were going to miss out on anything. No choices to be made. Everyone was in the same big ballroom and stuff. One of the main reasons I wanted to go to a conference is to meet people and network. I've been talking about going to a conference for years. Actually, since I got started online in 2013, I've talked about attending a conference and just never made time for it. For a few years I was working a full-time job before I got laid off. Now I don't have a full-time job other than my online business, but I just had not made the time. And because of where my business is right now and the fact that I want to grow my email list even more than I ever have, and I've wanted to grow my email list for a while, I was like, this is a conference that I should go to. So anyway, I assumed that I would learn a few things here and there, which I'll get into a few of the details of that in a second. I knew I would learn a few things, but the main thing was I wanted to network and meet people. I've heard if you go to a conference and your goal is to network and meet like-minded people sort of at the same level as you, and if you do a good job, you can have lifelong connections with these people and form mastermind groups, work together, and grow your businesses together. And that's kind of what I was looking for. So rewinding to learning something, one thing, I'm a bit of a pack rat when it comes to notebooks. So I bought a fresh new notebook with nice thick paper. And I was like, hey, I'm gonna take a lot of notes. I'm not gonna bring my laptop to the sessions. I'm just gonna take paper notes so I could listen and that sort of thing. And I'm kind of a paper kind of person, especially when taking notes versus typing. So I'd much prefer to write things out. It's a little slower, but it helps me learn things better. Now, I think I was hoping to learn a tad more. However, I believe from each speaker, of which I think there were 15 or something like that. I can't quite remember. It was more than 10, but Each speaker I learned like one or two things from. Some of them it was about like presentation skills. Like I didn't learn something from the specific content, but I was like, that person, like they're funny, right? Or they tell a good story, they really make you feel something, right? Which is way better than just like hearing facts regurgitated to you. Alternatively, I also heard a couple speakers where I was like, I didn't buy their emotion. One guy, won't mention the name, one guy like teared up a bit, and I was like, I don't believe that's a real tear. I think that's a fake tear. Now, that just could be me being cynical, but like an earlier presenter, Pat Flynn, one of the main reasons I went to the conference, his presentation, it felt emotional, right? I believed him. Another presenter was trying to, spawn a similar emotional reaction from the audience, but I didn't buy it. I'm not sure if other people did. It just wasn't as powerful. The other thing is there were several presenters who had products that they were selling and they sponsored the event. So it's like, when you step back and you look at the incentives for like the presenters and the organizers, like if a sponsor wants to present, you're probably gonna let them present. So there were a couple presentations that seemed a little more salesy, and the fake emotion guy, as I'll refer to him, he was a person that seemed too salesy. I just didn't buy it. So anyway, I'll get off that sort of line of negativity, but each of the presenters, I learned like one or two things. A few of them are big and I am very interested in implementing. So some of those are around like Facebook ads, which I've always been like interested in. I've actually almost always had a, few ads running just so I can, stay current with the interface on Facebook, which changes all the time. And I just haven't spent time on it, but there was a particular, method that Molly Pittman from Digital Marketer mentioned, and it was really around running ads to helpful blog posts just so you can retarget a person. So, in that way, you're like not trying to sell anything hard. You're providing information via, an ad so someone can go read a blog post or consume some info. And then you would actually run an ad to someone who's already, raised their hand and said, I'm interested. I actually read this other piece of information. So it's a lot of like, giving first and not trying to take anything immediately, which is interesting because like when Facebook ads were like first introduced to me, which was, 4 years ago or so, back in that day, there was a lot more like direct ads, like you hit a landing page where people were trying to get you to buy something, which is, not as effective these days. It's just, you have to give a little bit more before you can ask. And I will, I'll mention a couple things. So I got this whole notebook, but I only took like 8 pages of notes. And a lot of it is just like not much information. So I really didn't take that many notes. I met several people. So I met like 5 or 6 people that like I connected well with, that they were pretty cool. And then there's probably about 3 that I'll work with in the future. So I have a call with someone tomorrow. He will be on the YouTube channel at some point. And then I, met a couple other people that are sort of like in the SEO area that I'm into. So we have like a nice overlap in the audience. Again, he'll probably be in there too. I felt pretty strange. I went to this conference and I didn't use the 2 products by the people that put it on. So Drip, which is the email like automation marketing platform, right? So it's an email provider. I'm on Aweber right now. And then the other is Leadpages. So I've known about Leadpages, but I've used like other tools instead. I've never used Leadpages ever, even though like everyone tells me it's like the greatest thing ever and that sort of thing. So anyway, it was very interesting because during the cocktail hour, like I was mingling with a couple people, and the person I was talking to was like, hey, let's go over and talk to John. He's the new CEO. So I went over and talked. I was like, oh, no, I don't know John. Like she knew him a little bit. So I was like, no, I don't know John. It's cool. I'll just bounce over here and you can talk to him. She was like, no, come on, I'll introduce you. So I talked to John, the new CEO of Leadpages, for like, 20 minutes or something like that, like way longer than I thought. And through the conversation, he found out that I don't use either of the products. Like I said, I felt like embarrassed to even admit it, but it turns out that was really powerful because I'm the person they want to talk to, right? Like I first of all, I found their conference so like intriguing that I went to it even though I don't use either of the products. And then of course, like if I'm sitting there talking to the CEO, having a couple drinks with him, I mean, that's powerful that he's talking to me and saying, hey, you know, you should check out these products. I was interested in learning more about the products, but every time I went to like the information tables for both Drip and Leadpages, there were a couple people in front of me, so I'd stand around a little bit, wait, and then I'm like, I don't care right now, and then I'd walk off. But yeah, he actually got someone to come over and talk to me. I set up some demo time and I talked to like both crews, Leadpages and Drip. The next morning, lined some stuff up. And actually just today, I had like a migration call with the Drip team. So I'm excited to move over. Thing is, like Aweber provides like good service. However, they're just behind, right? So they don't have this sophisticated like segmentation and just marketing mechanisms like in place right now. They're trying, right? They're improving the product very slowly, like super slowly, but you know, they're sort of patching on like pieces of functionality to the core product that's already there. So it's like everything's legacy anyway. Even if I wanted to like move over to the new stuff that Aweber like has available, like I said, the segmentation, the ability to have campaigns and tagging, like that sort of stuff, I have to migrate that stuff inside Aweber anyway. So at this point, you know, for me to migrate over to a new system that actually has like more capability, like, you know, more integrations with other tools, and just, it was built from the ground up to do marketing automation, it's the better tool to use. So anyway, moving over to Drip, I'm really excited to get started. There's like a whole technical headache of like making it happen due to like autoresponders and the fact that people are in the middle of autoresponders in the sequence. So like, it's gonna be messy, it's gonna be a pain, but I think, you know, getting the infrastructure right is important. So anyway, the conference was awesome. I am considering going to the same conference next year just because I enjoyed it so much. It's the right group of people. I could roll up and talk to folks that, you know, understand like my pains and like my aspirations and stuff like that, where, you know, I've definitely heard of people going to, say, a conference where it was a different kind of like affiliate marketer and they didn't really understand, you know, what Amazon affiliate marketing was in the way that we're doing it, or the course business or whatever. So this group was definitely like the right group of people for me. Additionally, I'm wanting to go to other conferences where I believe it's the right group of people too. So I'm not sure how many. I know you can overdo it and go to like too many conferences and have too many new ideas coming in. So anyway, that is my sort of summary of the Converted Conference in 2017. Really enjoyed it, really looking forward to going next year. So thanks for watching. Again, I'm Doug Cunnington from Niche Site Project. If this is the first time you're on the channel, thanks for watching. Consider subscribing, maybe check out a couple more videos, see if you like what I'm talking about, and we'll see you around. Thanks.